What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show we like to call Pancrase, Legends of Mixed Martial Arts. I'm your host, Rob Wu, and sitting alongside me, as always, our expert analyst, Josh Barnett.
And you know how one happens to become an expert analyst in this sport, Rob?
I assume you fight?
Not just fight, you pretty much get your nose bent crooked, whapped upside the head, and people try to tear your limbs off on a regular basis. So
your nose looks perfectly fine to me, Josh.
That's thankfully all because of makeup.
And now today we're going to see event 66. Josh, this takes place in the late part of 1998, and some of the rules have changed.
Yeah, in fact, they're trying to make sort of a transition and experimenting with the idea of doing no rules bouts or vale tudo, closed fist, striking on the ground, stomping, kicking, maybe even headbutting being allowed. A little bit of a change up from the more sports and sort of pro wrestling type rules of previous Pancrase bouts, but let's see how these rules are used in full effect.
In our first fight, it's going to be Daisuke Ishii versus Minoru Toyonaga, two fighters we haven't seen a lot of, Josh.
No, Ishii, a new initiate to the Pancrase system, actually a good friend of mine. It'll be interesting to see his fight against Toyonaga, actually a graduate of the Takada Dojo system, and funny enough, Toyonaga would go on to become one of the judges and referees of the Pride Fighting Championship.
All right, he was a judge. Let's see how he did as a fighter.
Daisuke Ishii versus Minoru Toyonaga.
And Ishii, a multi-talented athlete, actually played a season of hockey in Canada after he graduated from high school.
Ishii with the body lock here. Looking for the tight waist takedown. Ishii also fairly decent at English.
In Toyonaga, this is actually his debut fight.
Ishii crowding Toyonaga into the corner here. Now this bout, as we spoke of, is not actually under the limited rules that they will be using. We'll see some of that later in the program. This is a standard Pancrase rules match.
As we move along in the fight, and Josh, Ishii was actually trained by Funaki.
Yeah, and he actually started to pick up a bit of an affinity for boxing and trained heavily in boxing when Pancrase would change over to the open finger glove set of rules later on.
Ishii coming in on Toyonaga, throwing knees.
Toyonaga reeling from those knee strikes, one just narrowly missing the chin of Toyonaga as Toyonaga went for a neck throw, but Ishii blocking the throw and now looking for the sleeper as he's on the back of Toyonaga.
And Ishii desperate for another win. 9 career fights so far, just 1 victory thus far.
Toyonaga rolling up looking for the arm lock, but Ishii defending.
Ishii has a side control, but the fighters are near the ropes.
30 seconds left. Ishii lands a few chipping body punches as they are brought back to the feet.
And as Josh said, Toyonaga now a referee.
Formerly of the Pride Fighting System, as Toyonaga dropping into a front choke there. Only 10 seconds left.
And it looks like Ishii can hang on for those 10 seconds.
Yeah, Ishii has his hand inserted there, blocking the hold. There is Sakuraba in the corner of Toyonaga.
Those two very close, as the judges will decide the victor.
Sakuraba, a initiate and a graduator, a former student of Bill Robinson and the UWFI system of pro wrestling, is going to become a very successful fighter in the Pride Fighting System before now joining the K1 fighting league, and Ishii getting that win.
And Ishii picks up his second career victory. Now I want to talk about our next match, Josh. Jason Delucia versus Manabu Yamada. Who likes these rule changes more of these two fighters?
That's hard to say. I think actually the striking aspect would really favor Delucia in this. Yamada, tough as nails though. I think this is a very evenly evenly fought match, and we'll see if Jason Delucia's slickness on the ground is going to be able to pull out the submission win, or if Yamada can tough it out, take this fight into the longer stages and grind out that victory.
All right, it's Delucia versus Yamada. Let's get to it.
Jason Delucia versus Manabu Yamada.
Yamada sporting the blonde do. I'll have to ask him about that next time I visit his chiropractic office in Tokyo.
As this fight begins, these two fighters did have one meet before, but that was eons ago, back in 1995. As we see Delucia in the full guard of Yamada. Delucia sliding Yamada to the center of the ring.
And this match also contested under standard Pancrase rules at the time.
Delucia with the side control now.
Delucia keeping that ankle tight and controlling Yamada on his back.
And Jason Delucia, a lot of experience. 25-13 is his record. Yamada, plenty of experience as well. 13-9-2.
Delucia threatening with the arm lock there as he crowds over the top of Yamada's head, trying to hook his head behind the leg, but Yamada able to defend, and Delucia now cranking the forearm, looking for the arm lock.
And Yamada has his legs around Delucia's neck for a second, but now Yamada has to watch out for that armbar. Unable to escape. Jason Delucia gets the win via the armbar. 113 in the first round. A very quick fight, Josh.
Yamada looking a little worn down, if anything. Delucia just locking up the arm, not a real fancy setup, and just spinning right into it. Very basic armbar attempt, but Yamada unable to stop it. Delucia executing a picture-perfect spinning arm lock.
All right there, Yamada losing to Delucia. We have to take a quick commercial break, but don't go away. Minoru Suzuki is coming up next. Welcome back to the show. Now we're going to see Minoru Suzuki versus Osama Shibuya. And Josh, this Minoru Suzuki, not the same guy we saw in the early days of Pancrase.
You're really starting to feel the effects of all the wear and tear he's endured through all the years of pro wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, the second UWF, Fujiwara Gumi, and from the start of Pancrase, and competing against the top athletes of all these sports takes its toll. All the bumps, bruises, your body can only handle so much, but he's got this younger initiate in Shibuya, more of a grappling fighter. Should be a little easier for him to deal with without that striking equation. But let's see how it turns out for Suzuki.
All right, let's go ringside.
Osama Shibuya versus Minoru Suzuki.
Suzuki there in his trademark black, Shibuya in the blue.
And Josh, similar strengths for both fighters, great at submissions.
Right, both great submission fighters with the advantage going to Suzuki on the ground. Suzuki opening up with some good kicks, and Shibuya opening up with a few big strikes there. In the clinch now, so Shibuya firing knees, Suzuki knee in return to the legs. Looking to finish that body lock takedown is Suzuki, as he's got Shibuya stuffed in the corner. Continuing to pepper knees in to the legs of Shibuya. More knees as they continue in this clinch.
Shibuya in the corner, plenty of ring experience, 18 wins, 19 losses, 6 draws, as you see the ref break the fighters up.
Restart, and Shibuya comes firing with shotes, backing Suzuki up, but Suzuki again getting the clinch, pressuring Shibuya against the ropes and looking for his opportunity to get the body lock takedown against Shibuya.
But instead, it looks like Shibuya also going for the takedown.
Both men each wanting top position. Big knee from Shibuya lands in the midsection of Suzuki. Suzuki seeming to hurt his hand there.
As both fighters are still in the clinch.
Body shot from Suzuki and charging Shibuya into the corner. Still in that body lock. Suzuki looking to time that knee for the takedown as he fires now a knee to the body.
And it looks like Shibuya, both fighters, unable to take each other down so far. And Suzuki, it looks like Shibuya scores the takedown.
Shibuya looking for that double wrist lock. Getting good position now is Shibuya on that double wrist lock. Suzuki laying there, motionless.
Both fighters dangerously close to the ropes.
Deep under the ropes, in fact.
And the referee will break this up, but from the looks of it, it looks like Suzuki can't stand it. He's sustained an injury.
Sustained some sort of injury here. Grabbing his hip.
And Suzuki telling the referee he's okay, but obviously not. He can't even stand. He's using the ropes to keep himself up as he is down on his knees now.
Grabbing his hip. Suzuki sustaining some sort of injury here.
And that will end this fight. 2:13 into the first round. Suzuki loses due to an injury. Might have dislocated something there.
The unfortunate incident for Suzuki.
And if you're Osama Shibuya, as we take a look at the replay right here, Suzuki still looking okay at this point. But right there, something happened to his leg on that moment.
And he collapses to the mat.
As Suzuki will have to be carried out of the ring.
In agonizing pain is Suzuki.
And if you're Osama Shibuya, you won this fight, but not so much of your own doing, but I'm sure he'll take it.
But at the same time, he has to be worried about his teacher in Suzuki.
And this has got to be a killer injury to Suzuki. Josh, he loves to fight, but it seems like as his career is continuing, his body just can't keep up with him anymore.
Well, as it would later be known, Suzuki would dislocate his hip. Somewhat of a freak injury considering, but it would take Suzuki out for more than a year and have long-lasting effects on his career from such a debilitating injury.
All right, and now we're going to see Ryosuke Yanagisawa versus Evan Tanner.
Evan Tanner versus Ryosuke Yanagisawa.
And there you see Evan Tanner in the black. Great record thus far in MMA, 15-1, and not bad considering he's self-taught. He says he learned by watching DVDs released by the Gracie family.
Evan Tanner, also a veteran of the USWF Fighting League in Amarillo, Texas, and other Texas town areas, run by Steve Nelson, where he's fought such notables as Heath Herring.
And knees by Tanner, but Yanagisawa doing a good job keeping those arms down to block it.
Tanner known for his devastating attacks in the clinch as he stops the Victor roll takedown by Yanagisawa, now working the top wrist lock is Tanner from the side control.
Yanagisawa, of course, a veteran. He's been there since the start of Pancrase, has 22 wins, 13 losses, and 5 ties.
He's only got 5 ties in all this time of work in the ring. I think, I hope he's got a whole bunch of shirts and suits to match him with.
Very funny play on words, Josh. I expect a lot more of this as the fight continues.
So Tanner here working from the mount and looking to strike.
Yanagisawa down on the bottom, trying to defend himself from those strikes.
Mounted Yanagisawa getting the arm trapped against the side of the head, and Tanner going for that signature side choke that has been so successful for him.
And it seems to be working. Yanagisawa not doing enough to get out of it.
Caught deep in that choke is Yanagisawa. Yanagisawa not moving.
And Tanner looks like he's got that locked in solid.
This isn't good for Yanagisawa. He has to be careful. This could be it for Yanagisawa if he cannot get out of this hold.
And he has to do something. He can't just lie down there. I don't know how much longer he can last.
Tanner sinking his weight down, tightening the choke ever so slightly.
And Yanagisawa, I think he is starting to go just by looking at his eyes. He's not even keeping them open.
Yanagisawa trying to create some space by pushing on that arm, but that doesn't look to be enough to stop this choke. It's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter.
Yanagisawa in serious trouble here. Still in that side choke. He's been in it for some time already.
Tanner trying to adjust.
And he finally taps out. And Josh, Ryosuke Yanagisawa is part of the Bolt Club in high school, but right there, just drowning in the middle of the ring in that side choke.
Someone throw that guy a life preserver.
And we can safely say Yanagisawa is nowhere near the shore as Evan Tanner wins in the first round, 2-24. And like we said, Evan Tanner, a very dangerous opponent. He was actually a former UFC middleweight champion too.
Exactly, and in this bout, he was able to sink Yanagisawa's battleship.
All right, we have to take a break, but coming up next, we're going to watch some Pancrase matches with the new rules. Welcome back to the program. Now we're going to see Keichiro Yamamia versus Jeremy Horn. And Josh, we're going to see some new rules in play here.
Yeah, here is going to be an example of some of those, allowing close fist striking to the face, on the feet, and on the ground, stomping, kneeing, maybe even headbutts. I'm unsure at this point, as I even happened to say that NHB was how it was referred to in the rest of the world, when not the rest of the world necessarily speaks English, but we have a good time here and we'll let it slide.
All right, it's Yamamia versus Horn.
Jeremy Horn versus Keichiro Yamamia.
Horn, native of Nebraska, trained in jiu-jitsu.
Brother of Matt Anderson, another former UFC fighter, and Horn got his start in mixed martial arts, actually, training in ninjutsu.
And Yamamia, not much of a submission specialist, just 3 submission wins in his 31 career victories.
Horn firing the low kicks into the southpaw Yamamia. Yamamia looking to set up a big straight left hand.
Jeremy Horn, one of the more outstanding grapplers in the sport of mixed martial arts.
And as we made mention when on the phone with Dennis Canning about those gloves in Pancrase, these are not those particular gloves, just to let you know.
Horn has Yamamia in the full guard. Jeremy Horn, so far an outstanding start to his MMA career. 16 wins, just 4 losses, 3 ties. So you see,
Horn would go on to actually acquire near 100 wins under his belt.
Definitely one of the most experienced fighters in the sport. As we move along in the fight.
Yamamia continuing to work within the guard of Horn.
5 minutes left, Jeremy.
And Yamamia actually made his name in the 1997 Neo Blood Tournament where he actually won it, and now throwing strikes in the head of Horn.
And bringing the fight back to the feet, fired up is Yamamia after catching an elbow and firing punch after punch, uppercut, big knee, more punch flurries from Yamamia. Inside low kick from Horn.
Yamamia looking for that opening to tag Horn. Horn comes in and both fighters in a clinch. Now Horn throwing some knees of his own to Yamamia.
Looking to force the clinch and get the match back on the floor. Horn front flipping, trying to catch Yamamia with the legs, perhaps going for a triangle choke. And Yamamia saying, hey, come back to the feet. I got a few things I want to show you.
Horn, with a little bit of a size advantage, has 2 inches on Yamamia.
Another inside low kick by Horn. Yamamia reaching out, trying to gauge his distance. Setting up that big straight left and an uppercut. Hook, another uppercut, and Horn dives for the legs of Yamamia unsuccessfully.
And now Now both fighters back on their feet. Horn throwing a knee in there.
Yamamiya's corner screaming. He's asking Yamamia to throw the knees to the head of Horn when they're in the 4-point position there. Horn wisely, though, escaping and preventing any further damage as we go further into the fight. Horn working for the double wrist lock from the guard position. Yamamia defending. 20 seconds left with Horn reaching for a front neck lock unsuccessfully. Yamamia staying tight inside the guard.
And Jeremy Horn actually got into the sport in '96 when he saw it on TV. Thought it'd be funny. He started picking it up.
Headbutts by Yamamia, but Horn keeping his hand in front to stop any potential cuts.
And the bell rings, and this fight will go to the judges. A relatively close match, but I think I might have to give the edge to Yamamia, who is on the attack a little bit more.
Yamamia, the more aggressive fighter, I would agree, and with Horn being so unsuccessful and able to take him down, but stated if there is no finish under this set of rules, it is an automatic draw.
And a draw it is, and for Yamamia, you might like the old rules in this instance, in which he might have actually had a chance to win.
Well, yeah, if there was a judge's decision, I think that Yamamia would have been the one to take it, but at this point, the rules are the rules, and no finish means no victor.
All right, and let's move on to our next fight. It's Kengo Watanabe versus John the Machine Lober. What can you tell us about these two guys?
Well, the Machine is a maniacal individual in the ring, known for continually pushing the pace, refusing to quit, once even having his leg broken in a toe hold by Ishii and Yanagisawa, and refusing to quit the match, saying, hey, I'm okay, I'm going to keep going on. So if you're looking for toughness, you won't find anybody hardly tougher than John Lober, who also happens to own a victory over former king of Pancrase, Frank Shamrock.
All right, and let's see how the Machine does against Watanabe.
John Lober versus Kengo Watanabe.
This being another no-rules super bout. Kengo, on the left, the larger fighter, coming from a rugby background, joined the Pancrase dojo.
And Watanabe is much larger, stands 6'4", 220 pounds. John the Machine Lober, 5'10", almost 200 pounds.
There is no lack of fight in John Lober.
As we see Lober in the corner right now.
Reverse changing positions, and Lober with working an outside trip takedown there. And is successful as he takes Watanabe to the mat.
And both fighters looking for a win. Watanabe 0-3 thus far in his career. John the Machine Lober hasn't won in his last 7 fights. As we see John Lober still on top of Watanabe.
Keeping Watanabe close. A little surprised not to see Lober firing those headbutts and short punches, being a veteran of many almost near no rules MMA bouts in Russia and Brazil. Trying to tighten up a side choke is Lober from the mount. Now Lober will kick off to the side to try and finish it, but Watanabe saw it coming, now reversed and ended up on top, but not out of danger yet is Watanabe. Lober still trying to finish that choke off his back, but Watanabe able to get clear. Now in the half guard of John Lober. Headbutt from Watanabe.
And the headbutt's now legal under these new rules.
These matches, a set of special rules matches. Another headbutt from Watanabe. And some punches. Nice flurry.
Lober trying to prevent those punches by keeping Watanabe close to his body.
A few short chipping shots by Watanabe as Lober gets the double underhook, keeping Watanabe close, maybe looking to follow one of those underhooks and come out the side and to take the back of Watanabe.
And as you see, that was Yoshiki Takahashi on the lookout, trying to help Watanabe out from his corner.
More headbutts from Watanabe. And a nice short little right hand from Watanabe. Winding up that big punch.
And John Lober has to get ready to block some of these punches now.
Elbow to the knee, elbow to the legs by Watanabe. following up with a body shot. More elbows to the legs from Watanabe, trying to soften up his opponent. Hammer fists find their mark on John Lober.
And if you're John Lober, you can't be content in this position all fight long.
No, but again, as we talked about before, if there is no finish in this fight, there are no judges, this will be ruled a draw. But one continuous 15-minute round, a long time to be in the ring.
As we see Watanabe trying to soften Lober up with some of those body punches.
Small cuts on the nose of Lober as Watanabe throwing hammer fists and short chipping body shots. More elbows to the leg and chipping shots there, trying to get Lober to relinquish his hold on Watanabe.
And so far, Lober keeping that hold.
Watanabe would be better served actually to use the forearm there, little short forearms to the face, or to try and get that grip off of his head instead of working those short punches. If he can create some space, he can land more of those headbutts and punches that have been successful for him. There, hammer fist from Watanabe.
Watanabe again looking for his opening here. And Lober fighting back from the bottom.
Punch from Watanabe lands square on the chin of Lober. You're going to have to throw more than that to take out the machine. More elbows from Watanabe. They may not finish Lober off, but I'll tell you what, he's not going to be walking too easily tomorrow. But nice hammer fist from Watanabe. Finds its way home. Scores the mark, but he needs to finish Lober, or this will be a draw.
As Lober once again holding on to the head of Watanabe, cutting off the distance.
1 minute left for Watanabe or Lober to pull out this fight. Lober bleeding a little more from the nose, the bridge of the nose area, from some punches and headbutts from Watanabe. Watanabe, though, in a death grip underneath Lober.
Both fighters starting to breathe very hard.
Headbutt from Watanabe, short range. Short hammer fist. Headbutt. More headbutts from Watanabe, finding their way home.
And John Lober still hanging on tough, not letting Watanabe's neck go.
Watanabe not finding much space to hit, but still managing to cause some damage. Big punches from Watanabe, looking to finish off Lober. Lober giving no space to Watanabe and looking for that decision, I expect. Or I should say, draw.
Watanabe once again looking for the opening, but this fight is over. John Lober maybe hanging on for dear life, but doing a good job in doing so, manages to sneak a draw out of this.
Yeah, Lober seemed to me knew that there wasn't much opportunity for him to win this fight. And good usage of headbutts and punches and short punches, but he really needed to clear those hands and get his head free, Watanabe, if he had any chance of really finishing this bout. But I think if there was a judge's decision, I would have given it to Watanabe for the top control, but that wasn't the rules, and this one is ruled a draw.
And indeed it is. And Masakatsu Funaki is next after the break, and we'll see how he copes with these new rules. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining us. Now we're going to see Masakatsu Funaki in action. And Josh, with these new rules, does Funaki have to change his game at all?
Funaki really is, I think, at best within the Pancrase rules, where he's able to use his technicality and his not so much about the brutality or just trying to ground and pound your opponent out. Funaki really thrives in the scenario where that's not a factor, but he's got John Rankin here, a hook and shoot champion and veteran of many events all throughout the world, Brazil, Russia, and nicknamed the Saint.
All right, and let's get to the fight. Funaki versus Rankin.
Masakatsu Funaki versus John Rankin.
John Rankin, a native of Kentucky, as this bout begins. And Funaki coming out strong with the strikes, pushing Rankin into the ropes, and now scoring the takedown.
Body lock to mount is Funaki, and already starting strong.
And the crowd chanting Funaki's name.
John Rankin, a preacher now, if I'm not mistaken. Also runs a school in Kentucky, training other fighters.
Quite the character, this John Rankin.
Headbutt by Funaki, letting Rankin know, hey, just because I'm here doesn't mean I don't know that what tools I have available. Rankin keeping that hand up as a headbutt can easily cause a cut to open as Funaki delivers another headbutt from the mount position. Back elbow to the cranium of Funaki, or Rankin, excuse me. Funaki patiently looking for his options. Rankin throwing a few punches off of his back, but should really be concentrating on escaping this position as he is really at a disadvantage right now.
And there are no rope escapes, so Rankin's going to have to figure his own way out of this one. As Funaki still has Rankin mounted here.
Funaki patiently staying in the mount. Rankin looking to establish some sort of control to bridge or reverse or escape from Funaki on bottom. Funaki circling them back to the center.
And John Rankin has to be very cautious. Funaki can turn on that submission move at any second.
Funaki just relaxing here from the mount position as there is no restart.
And Funaki perhaps trying to tire Rankin up a little bit.
Headbutt from Funaki as Rankin tried to look up, looking to hit that soft tissue area and cause a cut.
And so far, Funaki willing to be patient, take this fight as it comes. He's in no rush.
Rankin looking for his chance to escape, tries to throw those legs over and reverse Funaki, but Funaki wisely seeing it. Short hook from Funaki. He goes back to the mount position.
And Masakatsu Funaki still has a terrific record of 36-10. Rankin's at 500, 10 wins and 10 losses.
Rankin unable to mount any offense or find any opportunity to escape.
And if you're sitting in John Rankin's corner, what are you going to tell him, Josh?
Well, John Rankin's corner is telling him, hey, they're starting to get sweaty. He ought to be able to roll up and really slip out this time. But I'm just going to tell Rankin, hey, keep that inside hand control, start bridging, get that momentum moving, and then look for your opportunity once that space opens up to escape. But Rankin content to lay flat on his back, pulling Funaki's head down, but still no success for Rankin.
As we see Funaki still taking his time.
Funaki sliding up a little higher in the mount, in the corner as they continue to grapple. Funaki still mounted. Rankin pulling Funaki's head in.
Rankin trying very hard to keep Funaki close to him so he can't land those punches to the head.
Funaki really feeling no need to really to use any more energy than necessary. He figures, hey, I'm mounted. I'm the one in the great position. I'll just let Funaki sweat it out. In Funaki's corner, or in Rankin's corner as they sit.
And perhaps as we get closer to the end of the fight, Funaki might start to turn things up, but for now, content to take things slow.
5 minutes have passed now. Not much action from either side, but Funaki owning the mount this entire time as he slides to the corner. There's Travis Fulton, the MMA Iron Man with well over 100 fights. In fact, over 100 wins to his credit in the corner of John Rankin.
And now Funaki looking to try to perhaps strike Rankin in the head. And he connects right there, and Funaki starting to rev the engine up.
And Fugazi is being pretty aggressive at this point now, isn't he?
And Funaki now in elbows to the top of Rankin's head, and he is unloading now. John Rankin hanging on
Really
for
pulling
dear
him.
life, and he is defenseless as the referee jumps on Funaki to stop this fight. A TKO victory, a little ground and pound action by Masakatsu Funaki. As we bring it back to the studios, and Josh, if you're John Rankin and you're staying down in that corner, you got to figure sooner or later something's going to happen to you.
Well, all of a sudden, Funaki just went on a rampage and just throwing rights and lefts, elbows, just really opened it up on Rankin, wanting no part of that, tapping out wisely. Good performance in the finish by Funaki, but maybe not the most exciting fight up to that.
But as we do see Funaki taking advantage of those new rules. All right, we have to take a quick break, but don't go away. When we come back, the King of Pancrase title is on the line. Welcome back to the show. We thank you for joining us. And now we're going to see Guy Mezger take on Yuki Kondo for the King of Pancrase. And Josh, very hard to believe that Yuki Kondo, just 23 years old, at this point in his career, he's already accomplished more than a lot of other fighters do in their entire career.
A real rising star, Yuki Kondo here, taking on the veteran and Guy Mezger. I guess, though, even at 23 years old, with the amount of matches under his belt, Kondo can really be considered a veteran as well. And as the protege of Masakatsu Funaki, sort of a Shamrock Funaki matchup, as Shamrock being the coach of Mezger and Funaki being the coach of Kondo. Let's see if Kondo has some answer to that kryptonite of that side choke that Shamrock had for Funaki.
Terrific analogies, Josh. And let's see who becomes the King of Pancrase.
Yuki Kondo versus Guy Mezger.
There we see Yuki Kondo, a prodigy in the sport, to say the least. And Josh, you fought Yuki Kondo before, haven't you?
You'd be correct in that, Rob. And he is one tough son of a gun.
Kondo, 20 wins, 5 losses, 3 ties in his career. Also won the 1996 Neo Blood tournament.
And owned an incredible KO over Frank Shamrock, sending him out of the ring and onto the floor.
And if you're Guy Mezger, what's your game plan to take this guy down?
Well, both are well known for their striking, as Guy, the current champion, comes to the ring. But I think it's really important that Guy use his physicality as the larger fighter within this bout to take the most out of Kondo there. If he can use that physicality, he can wear him down, use that strength to his advantage to push him around the ring.
And how is Yuki Kondo supposed to neutralize that physicality of Mezger?
Speed and timing. That's what it's going to come down to.
Guy Mezger has won 8 of his last 9 fights, and he is a native of Texas.
I'd say both men, technique-wise, being equal on the ground. Guy Mezger having a very effective knee bar. He's won a lot of matches with it, but I think the size and strength will be the factor in any groundwork.
As we begin this fight,
Mezger with the low kick to the southpaw, Kondo. Palm strikes from each fighter. High kick by Kondo, met with a right palm strike from Mezger. Mezger keeping the center of the ring. Coming forward with another big palm strike is Mezger.
And Kondo throwing Mezger off him.
Inside low kick from Mezger. And returned by Kondo. Mezger needing to be wary of Kondo's very famous and effective jumping knee strike.
And Kondo has to always be cautious of Mezger's kicks. Guy Mezger, a world-class kickboxer.
As you speak, so responds Mezger with a nice lead leg high kick.
And
Middle
another
kick,
one
palm
there.
strike. Mezger landing well early on. Kondo.
And Mezger, it looks like he wants no part of the clinch right now.
Right, Kondo is really getting a bit picked apart for right now. And Mezger timing Kondo's shots to land great counters and initiating some wonderful lead kicks there is Mezger. Mezger keeping the center of the ring, trying to show his dominance as champion with another middle kick there.
And Kondo has a little cut on his nose, as we see a little blood on his face.
Mezger looking strong. Start out this bout.
These two have fought before twice, and they've split one victory for each person.
Inside low kick. Responded with a left shote by Mezger. Mezger checking that low kick. Kondo's nose bleeding a little more.
And now Mezger gets in the clinch, possibly looking to take Kondo down to the mat, and he does.
Nice outside trip takedown by Mezger. Lands him in the half guard of Yuki Kondo as Kondo looking to get the full guard, but Mezger passing all the way through to the side position.
As you see, Mezger with the side control.
Now Mezger locking up a cradle on Kondo, trying to hold position here. Knee on the belly by Mezger.
As we see Guy Mezger with the cradle once again.
Trying to establish mount is Mezger. Sliding that knee on the belly. Kondo continuing to readjust.
And Mezger going for that arm of Kondo. Puts the knee back on the belly.
Mezger staying in control on top, where he would be wise to keep this position, to continue to use that weight and size advantage to the best of his ability and make Kondo carry all that weight, tiring him out. Kondo here seems to be trying to relax, maybe take a breather underneath, but I think if you're Kondo, what you want to do is try and create some motion, some energy by starting a scramble. At least in that, you won't have the larger fighter in Mezger forcing his weight on top of you. As Mezger slides the knee on the chin.
And Kondo in a very uncomfortable position, trying to move his way out of it.
Mezger being very methodical about his approach here.
Mezger still has the side control. Moving around is Mezger.
5 minutes passed, and Mezger still maintaining the top position, controlling well.
As we move along in the fight, Mezger still on top of Kondo, and the ref breaks it, and Yuki Kondo has to be happy to be back on his feet right now.
1 minute to go in this fight as they battle it out.
Mezger another left high kick. Kondo responds, both fighters starting to let those fists and legs go.
Mezger charging with the body lock.
And once again takes down Kondo.
Looking very dominant is Mezger here, really using his size to his advantage. Very smart strategy on the side of Mezger.
Mezger putting that knee across the neck of Kondo.
Landing a shote, landing some punches to the body, getting active as there's barely but 10 seconds left coming up in this fight.
Yuki Kondo maybe trying to put something together at the last seconds, but Mezger not allowing him to do so.
Looking to be a little too late.
And it is a little too late as this fight has expired and Guy Mezger, it looks like, should have retained his belt. As we wait for the decision from the judges.
This is like going the entire 5 championship match, as you might see in one of the other organizations, without getting a single break. And Mezger being successful in defending the King of Pancrase belt, a very controlling performance over Yuki Kondo.
So Guy Mezger does retain his belt. Yuki Kondo not able to become the King of Pancrase right now, but he would do so later on in his career. So Guy Mezger retaining his belt, and Josh couldn't have happened to a better person.
Guy Mezger is really a quality individual, and I know this from working with him recently in some aspects, but also my trainer, Eric Paulson, has spent some time working with Guy Mezger, and nothing but good things to say.
All right, those are all the fights we had for today, but before we go, let's check out our move of the night. And it comes from the Masakatsu Funaki John Rankin fight.
This is just referred to sometimes in Japan as a machine gun punch rush from the mount, as Funaki just unloads a full magazine into Rankin here, elbows, get him to let go, and then just starts feeding in the punches.
And it looks like once Rankin's hands are not up, he cannot defend himself, and the referee wisely jumps in to end the fight.
Yeah, that was more like a belt-fed operation there from Funaki, just spraying and praying.
Now I want to ask you, Josh, Masakatsu Funaki, Minoru Suzuki, in their prime, can they hang in the ring with the superstars of today, the Mauricio Shogun Ruas, the Quinton Rampage Jacksons?
Absolutely, and those guys, it's hard, I keep mentioning this, guys like Suzuki, Funaki, Shamrock included, they had previous careers as professional wrestlers for many years, taking all kinds of abuse and punishment, and these are like their 3rd and 4th careers sometimes by the time they really started actively fighting. And I, for one, from training and watching some of this footage and being one of the athletes in the sport nowadays, can see that they had the highest level of technique. They were great athletes, and by no means would they be anywhere but at the top if they were competing in their primes in this day and age.
All right, that wraps up this week's show. Thank you for watching. I'm Rob Wood.
Josh Barnett.
Same time, same place, next week.